Really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Hi, bullhornbetty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the bullhornbetty Kids Club.
There were makeshift graves out here. Pee Wee Gaskins actually made his victims dig their own graves. He has 15 bodies confirmed on him, and he says that there's more than 110 additional bodies. He could have just been trying to get a recognition for being the biggest serial killer in American history. Back in those days, he'd pick up hitchhikers off the side of the road, and he said he murdered them. So there may be more bodies, there may not be. Here in front of an area right off of Edie Ford Road, following the tracks, following where the bodies were. The man was convicted of 15. This is not including the gentleman he blew up in jail that was on death row. He could have been being truthful. I don't see at what point him telling that he had 110 bodies. Why would he need to lie at that point?
Tom, it's just a tough subject. A recent study by Brown University showed that nearly 450 children are killed each year by their parents.
My daughters were picked up on a Friday by their father to spend the weekend, and that night he pumped carbon monoxide into their bedroom and slit their throats.
Searches have begun for 2 children killed by their mother in Pickens County.
9-year-old Hayden King was laid to rest today. Hayden's 4-year-old sister Harper will have a celebration of life service tomorrow morning.
Here's a story that's breaking at 6 o'clock. It's all centered around the 3 people you see on your screen. The key pieces in a Middletown murder case.
On the left is James Hutchinson. Police say the 6-year-old was killed allegedly by his own mother.
East Los Angeles mother was charged today with killing her 3 young children. The youngest was less than 2 months old.
News at 6 with breaking news.
Good evening to you, friends. Greg Merriweather along with Elizabeth Val. Our top story today, that precious little 2-year-old right now. 2 people are facing charges accused of murdering little Nevaeh Allen. Investigators found the 2-year-old dead in Mississippi after several days of searching.
One of those blamed in her death, the girl's mother, Lanaya Cardwell.
Welcome to the bullhornbetty Coffee Club.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.
Well, good afternoon, my beautiful people of YouTube and X. It's nice to see you today. We've got a lot to go over and unpack for the Madeline Soto case. I had analyzed this case a little bit. I know we're kind of 50-50 on the chat. You know, some people are just, you know, gung-ho about mom. Other people are, you know, kind of like me, like we feel like she was also a victim of this monster. But before we get into that, I just want to take a few moments to advocate for another young boy that is missing at this moment. So if we can just take a few moments to advocate for Sebastian Rogers, here's his case.
There is a lot of issues going on with this case that are now flooring detectives and the family. I've been monitoring the case of Sebastian Rogers. He's a boy that went missing in Tennessee. His mom has a message.
Love you so much, and we want you to come home, and you're not in trouble.
Search into the 15-year-old's disappearance has all failed. This is a boy that has autism. He's a high-functioning autistic individual, and the parents are coming under heavy fire right now because it is leading to believe that foul play is involved. But here is something that the stepfather had to say early on in the investigation.
Chris and Katie tell me they've been harassed, people pointing fingers at them.
You're not in this situation. You don't quite understand.
Many here in the public are just concerned about the well-being of Sebastian Rogers and would like to see him come home and come home safely. However, the boy has been missing for a significant amount of time, and now this particular case has led investigators to a landfill. Landfills appear to be the most promising place for parents to dump their children because this is not the first time. I was on scene at the Leilani case, and this was related to her 20-month-old son, Quentin Simon, which was found in a landfill. Leilani Simon is behind bars. Also, Elijah Vu. He has not been found yet. He's missing from Two Rivers, Wisconsin, and also the detectives and the investigators in this case have gone to the landfill and are currently doing a landfill search. Now that we know that foul play is perceived in this case, we're going to take a look at the parents' interview. Please stay tuned and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel here on TikTok.
All right, so that was for Sebastian Rogers. What a It's one of those cases where you just don't really know what to think. The parents, there's a few things in the parents' interview I have some questions with, and we'll be rolling those out in the week. We're going to probably have to tag team these a little bit and maybe do, part Madeline, part Sebastian on the cases throughout the next week. But either or, let's get right into Madeline Soto. A lot of people have been very curious and concerned with the Madeline Soto case, predominantly with her mom and how much her mother knew. It's really dominating the airways because let's face it, we have survivors, okay? We have survivors out there that have survived this very type of abuse. And there's a lot of different issues that go on with this type of abuse, from the victim not telling anybody because of fear, for whatever fear factors were known to them. Some told their mom or somebody else. Sometimes these people didn't live with their mom and dad; they lived with other people, and those other people did not believe them. And a lot of girls they're women now, that have been reaching out to me have also expressed their experiences with their mom not knowing. So it's really sad to think that this type of abuse does happen. We talk about it on my channel all the time, and we talk about that when we go to school, we're always instructed and taught about stranger danger, but very rarely do our teachers teach us about the dangers that go on with the people that are supposed to love and protect us the most. And I think that in this particular case, I'm uncertain one way or another whether Maddie told her mom or alleged to speak to her mom about certain things. I can say that maybe her Maddie may have tried, because, and I'll explain why I feel this way, may have tried to tell her mom, but didn't use the right words. And her mom may have just thought it was like physical abuse, not this type of abuse. And it's because of one of the statements her friends had made to a news crew. Either way, the debate on what mom knew and what mom didn't know continues. I said up front that I felt like she was his victim too, that he was really manipulative. I went as far as to say, when I was doing my victimology, that she was most likely somebody that had low self-esteem of herself and gave all to her relationships, especially with him, because he was a good-looking, tall, dark, handsome guy. Probably somebody that she wasn't accustomed to dating. And so those factors played into this as well. And then you couple that with the fact that I felt like she was the breadwinner, that he was kind of the bum, but she loved him so much, team player, we'll subdivide this, we got this, type of thing. And he took care of her daughter. I had a question about how they met. And there is some details in the past. I don't know if this is how they met, but it looks like that, they were working for Disney around the same time at some point in the last 8 years. I've also learned that this is going to be a jaw dropper, most likely have been in a relationship of 8 years or longer. That's correct. That means this man watched Madeline grow up, which even makes this a little more depraved, in my opinion. Just sitting there looking at, I can't. I'm not doing it this Sunday. I can't. We'll keep it. We're going to try to keep this as clean as possible. I can't. God bless this family. God bless this child. I don't know what to say. I'm getting sick of covering these cases, but we have to cover it because we need awareness brought to this sick garbage. But what I will say, and this is on my political platform as well as my true crime platform, there is a culture at the Disney World family of entertainment attraction, tourist attractions, whatever you want to call them. Epcot, Disney World, all of them. There is a culture there. I live in Florida, so I know who Grady Judd is. A lot of people out there don't understand who Grady Judd is. I can tell you, I've been in this one county my entire life. My family's practically built this entire county because we've been here for so many generations. I grew up on Grady Judd before Grady Judd was known to the rest of the world. And every time he does an SA type of sting, it is always, even with the children, even with the damn children, excuse my language on a Sunday. I get a little hot under the collar. It is always, I have not seen in the last several years, I mean, maybe one, maybe there is an outlier out there. Maybe. But it's always has a Disney employee somewhere in the mix. Always. We don't have PepsiCo employees always in the mix. We don't have other huge corporations always in the mix. But you know what is always in the mix of these things? Always a Disney employee. Somewhere in the mix. Somewhere in the mix. And then we have this animal coming from Disney. It's a culture that I'm just going to throw it out there. You guys say what you want to about Disney, but I am a no Disney. Just like some of you guys are no Trumpers, I'm a no Disney person. I will not support Disney. I will not go to Disney. I will not go to any of their parks. I have boycotted Disney, and I will continue to do so because I'm sick of this stuff right here being bred across our country. This is not okay. This is not okay. So we do have evidence that he did actually work for Epcot. Just to give us a little background and a little history on why I'm advocating for Jen Soto. This is not a popular viewpoint because many people believe she knew something, she's responsible, but we're going to break this down because I really feel when I saw her and saw some of her behaviors, I have seen those behaviors before. And those behaviors look to me like a battered wife. Her mannerism, there was just a few things that just triggered me that put that light bulb above my head. And sometimes people misdiagnose it, so to speak. Okay. But we've got some more information. And I really think if we just break this down, I think other people, and I'm not trying to make you change your mind. I'm just trying to give you the full insight because we all are really looking at what happened since the day she disappeared. In order for us to identify who she was around, we have to look at a long time before she disappeared. We have to understand who she was around, what their personality is. Do you understand how difficult that is when you're looking at paper? Because you don't get the vibes and the sense of somebody like you do when you're there face to face with them, belly to belly with them. So we're trying to have to, do this tap dance around all this information to derive a sense of who these people were. And I just never derived the sense that this woman was this horrible monster to her daughter. It just, look, we do this a lot. We see this a lot. And I'm just not getting, but you know what? In all fairness, there are people in my audience that are. And so we have to cater to both of those because there truly is a 50-50 when it comes to this mom and my audience. So give me just a second. Let me cue this up. We're going to be just listening to this. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have all seen it. If you guys are a subscriber, of course, to the Bullhorn Betty channel or Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories, right? If you're not, if you haven't subbed up, sub up now. I'm on TikTok as well as YouTube.
Jennifer Soto is the mother of the missing 13-year-old girl that was recovered on the side of the road. And since then, Jennifer Soto's boyfriend, Stephan Stearns, has been arrested for child abuse and SA of her daughter. We learned that SA started back in 2022. And I find some of the comments in this latest post pretty telling. Was the mom, Jennifer Soto, being drugged by Stephan Stearns? It is possible. When I was friends with Jen back in 2022, she was prescribed a high dose of antipsychotic for her bipolar, but had mentioned she took it all at once right before bed and it would basically knock her out until morning. She complained about having a super hard time waking up in the mornings. I suggested that she should take half in the AM and half in the PM or go to the doctor because it sounded like she was way over medicated. But it also could have been that she wasn't taking the medication as prescribed. Because I personally know that Jen felt that she was more creative when she was manic and actually enjoyed how it felt. One time she texted me and said her and I should not take our medications for a week
and create art and music. And I literally replied, haha, nope. I met her on Bumble BFF when I was living in Orlando. We're no longer friends because Stephan had taken himself off his psych meds and had threatened to unalive himself in front of Jen. She didn't think it was a big deal, but I told her I would not be going to her house until Stephan got help because I knew he was always armed. That made her upset at me and ultimately ended our friendship. It's hard for me to say whether Jen is guilty. She seemed to love Maddie, but I also know she ignored major red flags when it came to Stephan, which she proved to me when she thought it was no big deal that he threatened to pew-pew himself in front of her. So part of me wonders if she just wouldn't let herself accept that he was hurting Maddie if Maddie did indeed tell her what he was doing. All she said was that they had gotten into an argument. She never mentioned what the argument was about, but her unbothered reaction to him saying that made me feel like him saying stuff like that was a regular occurrence. Stern was armed. We saw his Reddit post, but his weapons collection and forum post, manipulative suicidal threats, and tactics utilized by nearly all emotional abusers. I wonder what triggered him to make these threats. Interesting. That is very interesting to say the least. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think mom knew, or do you think mom was just in denial?
So that was one of the videos I put out. I can't remember if I put it out early this morning or last night, but it was one of the ones that I had put out. Maybe it was earlier yesterday. I can't remember, but I do a lot of videos. But there's a few key things here and this is what we need to talk about is a lot of people are bringing up to me is one about his phone, because law enforcement got his phone. He did the factory reset. They were able to find some images there that they were able to arrest him on some pretty sick charges, even in the engagement part of it. So they obviously had something a little more than just photography. I'll leave it at that. We hear that, but we hear that that both happens like around 2022. Many people brought to me, well, what phone was he using before 2022 and what images, if any, are on that phone? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if law enforcement is getting the answer to that. I don't know if they found his prior phone, if he had a prior phone, or if he destroyed his prior phone. I can tell you for me, I've got phones literally all over this house, right? I don't throw my phones away because they always had data on them. Back in the day, we didn't really have a good way of pulling that data off our phones and putting on hard drives like we do today. It's a lot easier today, but once upon a time, what was on your phone was on your phone. So does he have a situation like that? We're learning that this guy was in this young girl's life for at least 8 years, which gives this a whole nother level of just disgust, in my opinion. Just absolutely disgust. Second, sorry, to turn the silencer on. And then you hear around this 2022 mark, which is where we know for absolute certain, confirmed by law enforcement, that this abuse started happening. And we get this news from her friend that in 2022, she was basically being zonked out at night and having a hard time getting up out of bed. So now we're starting to incorporate that in and saying, wait a minute. Is this lady sleeping through the night so hard that she wouldn't be being able to hear any type of commotion going on in her home? The answer is yes. Yes, that is possible. We also have another, and the fact that he could be adding some other stuff into her medication. There is that as well. There are a whole host of things that can answer some of these questions, and why I say we need to be cautious, because I don't want people blaming a mom that just did not know. Should she have known? It's so easy to say, yeah, we all should know. I can't tell you how many times I've been duped by family, by friends, but you know what? I should have known, right? But you don't, because they're convincing. They're convincing. Another thing that is in this information, right, is the fact that he carries a gun. He's been known to have a gun. He is himself supposed to be on medication. So now we have an element of not only just authority, but him having and being known to have a weapon. He's already told Jen he's wanting to unalive himself for whatever this argument was over. What if this argument was over her daughter? Because there are some statements that he made on Reddit that kind of just alarm bells. Alarm bells. Everybody wants to know what happened in this case prior to. I really don't know, but we are going to go ahead and look at some factors in this case. Let me get past this. This is me. This is the timeline into it. And for Disney World that wants to keep saying that this man was not employed for him, I think it is now well acknowledged. This man worked in the Disney family, and that statement about him being a Disney cast member is absolutely 100% accurate. While they were doing their investigation, it appears that Jen Soto's car was also included in that investigation. I know many people are wanting to know whether or not he whether things were searched. It appears that everything was searched. There's his mugshot. We all know this. Now let's go back to a few things that we have learned that kind of give my assessment a little more weight, like it is holding water a little bit. Here are some of the things that I said when we were analyzing this case. And this was when everybody's pointing the finger at mom. I said, the mom, in my opinion, I feel like this guy targeted the mother because of her daughter. I still believe that even 8 years later, him watching her grow up. There's a few key factors here that make me uneasy. The girl could not sleep alone. I'd like to know, did she sleep with her mom and her boyfriend? Did she sleep with just her mom? Was she ever in bed with just him as mom come home from work? These are questions I have. We have a friend that said that he remembers her telling him that Stephan had hurt her, and this was back in 2022, but she said hurt her. Nothing to the level of what we learned happened. Okay. So that leads me to believe maybe she did try to tell her mom, but wasn't using the right words. And then you have that threat element because he was known to carry a gun and he was known to threaten himself, to unalive himself, to manipulate the mom and doing what she wanted, because if she didn't, he was going to pull that trigger. So now you have that level of abuse there, mental, emotional abuse, which I also had suspected was going on inside this home. I also stated that I felt this mom was working a lot and most likely the breadwinner. We have people that can say just that. I'm going to be using a little portion of Gray Hughes' interview. It's only about a 2-minute portion of it. And it is, from 550, not 450. Hold on a second. Let me get it where it needed to be. No, I think it was 450. Yeah, it was definitely 450. So we're going to go ahead and hear and talk about. It is about a story of something where he pulled out a knife. Okay. Again, this is from Gray Hughes. I'm using this under fair use because we are going to be commentating on just a few things from the 550 mark to the 754 mark in this. And what's coming up is how protective this man is or allegedly is. There we go. So now we know he's protective. And then we go just a little bit forward And we find out he has weapons. Now, not only is this gun an issue, let's listen to this. Let me just go back just a few quick seconds, maybe right there. They were not the good kids. They were not the good kids. And then we're going to go forward. I'm just going to go ahead and let it play because it's only 10 seconds of just conversation. And he's going to go into one of my other theories that I had suspected, that this guy had employment issues and most likely the mom was the breadwinner, therefore leaving her daughter in the care of this man's custody that she's been dating. Oh, no sound? Sounds good here? Okay, Jessica, you need to turn your volume up. Everybody else can hear. I can't hear the video. Who else can't hear the video? Can anybody else not hear the video? I can hear BHB. You could hear the video? Okay. Because I set all this stuff up after I set up my volume, so I shouldn't have any issues. Sound is fine. Okay, so the people that I trust are saying it's good. So everybody else needs to turn up their speaker volumes. So now we're going to go into where my other theory was being explored here. And it sounds like he did have the employment issue. So let's just hear that. Can somebody let me know whether I have sound on the video or not, please? Because my mods are telling me I have great sound, and then now I'm... Can somebody tell me whether I have sound? No sound. Okay. Let me tell Jen, if you can... No, it doesn't really matter. Give me just a second. All right, we're going to try to refresh again. What just happened? Oh. Can you guys hear it? No sound. We hear Betty. Not the video. Okay. I'm going to try. Yes, I can hear Betty fine, but not the video. When I ask about this, guys, I'm just asking about the video, not whether you guys can hear me, only the video. And so I'm going to play the video now. If you guys can hear the video, please let me know. Again, I don't know what's causing these issues. I apparently have been having them all week, so I'll have to figure it out at a later time. I'll listen on my own phone. Just... Not on the video. Okay. Okay. Well, either way, this is what... Okay. Let me get this off. Okay, either way, all he's saying is there's an interview with a friend. If you guys need to go to Gray Hughes to listen to it, go to Gray Hughes to listen to it. I don't know what's going to go on with the rest of my videos that I have lined up, but it is what it is. I don't know what else to do. I guess the best thing I can do is refresh my screen and refresh all this stuff again. So give me a second. I will be right back. Can we hear now? Because that's the best it's going to be. Otherwise, I'm going to have to play this stuff on my phone. If we cannot hear these audios, I'll just play them on my phone. I've got them all lined up. Still no sound. No sound at all. How can this flippin' be? Ah! For fuck's sake. Excuse my language. Here, you know what I'll do? I'll turn the whole equipment off. If you guys can't hear it after the stupid equipment's off, I've got all the equipment off, okay? Can you guys still hear me? Because I've got all the equipment off. There should be no reason why we have no sound. Can you guys hear that, yes or no? Give me just a second. All right, if this doesn't work, you know what? It's Sunday. I'm frustrated already, so I'm killing the live. If we don't get sound out of this, the live's over. Do you guys hear it? Oh, I know why. Because a stupid phone. Can you guys hear me now? It's the stupid phone. The phone keeps hooking up accidentally. I don't know how to turn it off. But every time I try to charge this phone, it hooks up and throws my and throws this. Can you guys hear this now? Can you guys hear the okay. Well, I'm over trying to get Gray Hughes to play on here. I can't get it to, so I'm not going to worry with it. So I'll just go over and explain everything I'm hearing since you guys can't hear it. Okay. There's only so much I can do. I'm doing everything I can. I don't know why my volume's no longer working on StreamYard. Like to me, I can't figure that out how this is not working on StreamYard all of a sudden in the last week. I just don't know how to use my computer. It seems like it's something with StreamYard. So I guess we'll have to move over to RealStream or Restream or yeah, nobody can hear me because something happened with my phones. Okay, so let's get back to the show. I'll try to play this again. I don't know if it's going to play because I don't know what the F is going on with the whole reset permissions. Let's reset this. Maybe it's some stupid thing. I don't know why these things aren't together anymore. Can you guys hear that? Probably not. All right, I'm back. Give me a second. Now, if you guys can't hear this, this is like the it for me because I'm like I said, it's Sunday. I'm just coming here because I didn't go live yesterday. I can't get my stuff working. I can tell you after we get our camera, I have made the decision today after this whole week of mess, we're going back to Windows-based products. I'm done with Apple products. I'm done with Mac products. I'm done with it all. So we will start sponsoring new computers and new phones. But I can't keep dealing with this with Mac products. I have the most problems with this. Everything works with my Windows products, but my computer was smashed in by Southwest. And so Olivia talked me into all this MacBook stuff, and I don't like it. So,
Jen, go ahead and tell us what's going on with Maddie.
Well, Monday morning, we took her to school. We dropped her off close to school, across the street from a church, which is it's right next to the school.
Thank you. Okay. So there we have it. We got some stuff. I'm going to try to go back to Gray Hughes stuff. So we had, and this is just going back. Sorry, guys, for all the problems, all the technical issues we have. Again, I know I won't have them with Windows-based products. I'm tired of MacBook. I'm tired of Apple products. They're indestructible, and I get that. But when they don't want to work with any of your equipment because you have to pay $1,000 for everything to work with Apple, I'm done with it. If it's going to be that bougie and I'm going to spend top of the line money for it and I can't get nothing to work with it, I don't need it. I absolutely do not need it. The sound's gone again.
From my perspective, Stephan has always been protective of his friends, his family, and that's what that was to me. That was, this drunk dude is approaching his. I don't even think it was his girlfriend at the time, because there's a huge backstory with all of that. But he was approaching her, and he defended her, and that's what that scenario was. And yeah, he was the kind of kid that had pocket knives, and that's the group we were in. We were not the good kids,
They were not the good kids.
I opened my own video game store here in Colorado, and he had told me that he was not working and needed work, and I was like, dude, come here, please come here. My employees are not great. I need help.
So he wasn't working either. Oh, thank you, TL, for the 5 gifted Bullhorn Betty memberships. We appreciate the love and support, especially now that we have officially decided to change out our equipment. I'm done with the MacBook products. I'm done. I've never liked MacBook stuff. I don't like the way it functions, the way it works, or anything like that. The only thing I like about the Apple phone is I can drop it 1,000 times and it is not destroyed. Outside of that, everything else I hate about it. So we'll get this all resolved. Just give me about 6 months. We'll have no problems moving forward.
And then he told me, finances for me to come there doesn't look so great, and I don't know how I would cover these expenses, and my dad said this, and all these, it just seemed like.
So he was a bum. This man was a bum living off of his girlfriend, which is what I suspected, because I'm telling you, when I did my victimology on this family, I had to equate that there were some abuses. I didn't know to this level. I didn't know he threatened to unalive himself in front of Jen. I didn't know that he was also on some medication for mental health. She was on medication for mental health. She was working. She was taking her medication at night. It was zonking her slap out. She was having a hard time waking up in the morning, which was another one of my predictions, is that she most likely wasn't up that morning, or when she did get up, he could have had the shower running across there. Yeah, victimology. So here, of course, nothing's working. Where's my victimology? I actually figured people would have that very question, what is victimology? And I actually had it already pulled up. But of course, it's gone. Give me just a second. My question was, what is victimology? What is victimology? Here we go. Oh, well, thank you, Reggie. I love that. Thank you. God bless you. So victimology is the study of victims of crime and the psychological effects on them of their experience. So we're looking at the victimology. We're looking at a lot of different things about these people. And the bottom line is based upon, good Lord. There we go. Let me get back here. There we go. And so the victimology, it was just showing that there were some other stressors in this home. There had to have been other stressors in this home. And so we didn't quite understand them. Give me just a second. I can't work without my my mouse. It's not working. I got to Bluetooth it back together. Just give me a second. I think honestly, you know what I think the biggest problem is I honestly think that I got too much crap. I need to clean out my computer and clean out my phone. My phone's been freezing up. The computer's been freezing up. Every damn thing's been freezing up. So I think that's what it is. I just do too much. So let's get back to this one. This is the weird interview. And then we're going to get to Plunder. Plunder has a few things that she was able to use AI on. It was easier just to pull the stuff from her than it is to try to recreate it myself. We're going to be using sort of small, minute section of it that it's not going to really make a difference. But here is this this other interview. There were actually like 2 different interviews this lady. There may have been more than 2. These are the 2 that I found. We played the one yesterday where she was interviewed, and then her Stephan Stearns was interviewed, and just their weird behavior. But here's some more really weird and bizarre behavior from him. And it's almost like intimidating because let's face it, he had to have an intimidating role in that household to keep mom under control and to keep the child silent. Now, again, that's up for debate because there are people out there that believe that this woman knew and just didn't believe her daughter. But did she? And that's going to be the major debate we're going to have up until we start seeing arrests on here, and nobody's going to be right and nobody's going to be wrong until the arrest happen. I don't know. I've listened to a lot of people across the board saying that mom's going to get arrested for lying for the boyfriend. I don't necessarily believe that that's going to be the case for whatever reason. Maybe she will. But deep in my gut, there's a reason why my gut is screaming so hard about this one aspect of the case. And I don't know why, but it is only my gut, right? And my gut can be wrong, I don't want to believe it could be, but it could be.
She crossed the street and walked to school, what we thought walked to school. My boyfriend who drove her to school drove away at that point. It was seen on video footage that she hung out in the parking lot of the church for a few minutes.
Look at his behavior. He gets just into the sideline. Now, to remind you, she's on the computer having this interview. She's having this interview with this TV through like a Zoom or conference type of call. And he positions himself right in the corner of her screen. So while she's having this conversation, he can see everything she's doing and the facial expressions she's making. Again, does mom know? I don't know. I truly believe that this woman was asleep at the wheel. I really do. I believe that she was just overtaxed. I feel that she was, trying to keep everything together, trying to keep their apartment paid, trying to keep this, trying to keep that, relying on him for very little because he's a freaking bum. And all she needs from him is just to make sure that he keeps probably the house clean or, picks up, blah, 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 the same thing. It is my understanding, which I don't know if I agree with this or not, but it's my understanding that she was the one that generally took her daughter to school and that he didn't really have a hand in that. But I really don't believe that. I believe it was normal and customary for her to sleep in because she was the breadwinner. She had the problem getting up in the morning and she was tired. I think it took her off guard when that news guy had asked her, what did you say to her that morning when she left? And she kind of was in shock and had to remind them that she didn't speak to her until the night before, even though she implied she saw her that morning. I don't think she saw her that morning. I think there was something where she thought she was in the shower. Or Stephan had told her she's already up, she's getting dressed. There's just something more here. And I just don't believe everything that that I'm seeing in this woman screams monster to me. And I don't understand how people are seeing it in her. I just don't. I'm obviously missing something here if she's this horrible monster that fed her daughter to the wolf. You know, I just don't see that here. And everybody that talks about her talks about how she loved her daughter. Everybody talks about how weird that guy is. All of his past people talk about he wasn't part of the good crowd. You guys don't even want to see the stuff I'm going to be bringing to you guys this upcoming week about some of the statements this man made. Some of the statements this man made are enough to make the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
And walk towards the school, but she never made it. That walk and that was around 9 a.m. when she got up. She never made it to school after that. It's right next to the school. I don't know why she didn't make it. I don't know if something happened on her walk along the way or if she got taken, but she never made it.
And that was the last anyone's seen of her or heard from her?
Yes. I went to pick her up after school, and she wasn't there.
And we also have to remember that, Stephan would have been advising her what she was doing, advising her what she was wearing, advising her where he dropped her off. Again, this is a man she's had in her life for a significant number of years. When you're with somebody for 8 years, you pretty much know who that person is, so you think. You know what I'm saying? Like after 8 years, you've dealt with a lot of ups and downs. You're a unit at that point. This is not a new relationship. This is not 2 years or under. This is a significant amount of time. This man watched Maddie grow up, which again, it is very even more depraved than when we started this journey just a week or so ago, right? The 26th. So I go couple weeks ago. 8 years she knew. You trust them after 8 years, right? You trust them after, and granted, yeah, Allie, I think she does know. She knows that he has a weapon. She knows that he's volatile. She knows that he's willing to, if he doesn't get his way, he's wanting to using all those manipulative type of strategy. The thing is with these types of predators, they're conniving, they're cunning, they're manipulative. And so I feel like, he would have been still playing that he was the perfect boyfriend, the perfect significant other. Meanwhile, he was the wolf in sheep clothing. And mom's asleep at the wheel because she's got her own problems she's dealing with. She's dealing with trying to keep the lights on and feeding the family. Because I think this guy was a joke. I've seen them a dime a dozen. They're good looking. They're absolute pieces of garbage. They suck the life out of any desperate woman that's willing to take them in, and all they got to do is smile. And the woman's hook, line, and sinker because she's lonely. And I don't want to paint mom as a desperate, lonely woman, but, to be honest with you, he's a good-looking guy that she probably is not accustomed to having. And that's just the real. Don't have to like my opinion, but it's my opinion. She looks, she's a beautiful woman. Don't get me wrong. It just seems like this guy was attracted to her for all the wrong reasons. That's all I'm saying.
So I started driving around, maybe thinking she took a walk. Maybe she decided to walk to my mom's office, which is pretty close to the school as well. Drove around and I didn't see anything. I drove back to the school. The school was closed. I emailed one of her teachers. They confirmed that she was absent all day. At that point is when I called 911 because I realized something was truly wrong.
Have you heard from like any of her friends? Has she been active on any social media?
She hasn't been active on social media, none of her chats, none of her games. We did contact all her friends.
The one thing I can honestly say is that her mother's story was consistent from interview to interview, as far as I could see, mostly consistent. So, for example, when Stacy Wandra had just gotten out of jail, and he was, trying to clear his name in the Michael Monkey Vaughn case, he went to like Dolly Vision, Brooks channel, and then over to Justice for All's channel. And it was like every single interview he gave, he changed details. Most of the time, it was the timeline. Because, when we hear things like, if you're like me, you have a pad of paper, you have a pad of paper next to you. So when you're hearing these interviews, you're putting down time, what was said, you're taking notes. And so one of the very first things, because I always take notes of the timeline, when they give a specific date and a specific time, I map those things. And so that's the very first thing, is because I'm like that with the time. As soon as he went to I think he went to Dolly Vision, then Justice for All, or Justice to All, then Dolly Vision, one of the two. And from one to the other, he literally changed his timeline an hour. Where he told on one creator he was there at 5:30, he told on the other creator he was there at 6:30. So that's what I'm saying. For the most part, in my opinion, her statements have been mostly consistent. However, there were some inconsistencies, and I think those inconsistencies is because those inconsistencies were told to her by someone else, where she didn't have knowledge, and they're the ones that informed her. And I believe the person that informed her of those details was Stephan Stern, which would make sense because there was only two of them in the house. There's three of them in the house. One is missing, two are left. And you're seeing them here on the camera. So, okay, hold on. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm ready for plunder. Okay, here's the Spanish version of. Let me see if I can get it in English, because I'm gonna go over to no, it won't let me do it in English. Click settings to change it. We don't want French caption. We want English caption. And it won't give me English. It gives me French and Spanish options. Let me see if I can get some other options. It's not going to let me put it in English for whatever reason. So we will have to go over to plunders. So this is the major issue that I have, is that when we are learning of the grandmother spoke to Telemundo. I think it was Telemundo 31, which is a Spanish-speaking news broadcast type of mainstream media thing. Long story short, her mother gave a Spanish-speaking interview with them, and there were a few things that came up in that Spanish-speaking interview that Plunder was able to use some AI and bring it down to English, and we were able to understand what she was saying. And there was a couple things that she said. One of the major things that she said that caught me off guard was that Madeline Soto had many fears and didn't sleep alone. So here, I'm just going to let you hear just a few moments of this, and then we'll get on to another statement that was said.
Admitted she was a little girl with a lot of fears who could not sleep alone.
I think she can do that. She's a kid, like with many fears, so much so that she does not sleep alone, and I do not believe she can leave or run away, leave her house.
So her grandmother was saying this in the respect of trying to explain why she does not think her granddaughter would run away. She's so fearful that she sleeps She won't sleep alone. She's so fearful that she won't sleep alone. Let me repeat that again. She's so fearful that she won't sleep alone. So again, it comes back to the whole manipulation demeanor of Stephan Stearns and why I believe the mom is a victim of him. I believe she's a victim of him. We really won't know the truth until law enforcement releases more information on the topic. But we know these types of predators. This guy was a predator, guys. A predator of children. So what makes us think that he is not going to be manipulating mom right along with that child? Now, again, I know that there's 50-50 here, and I'm sure my 50% is in there screaming, Mom, no! I know you guys, and I'm not addressing it. I know it. It's got to be infuriating. It's got to be infuriating. And the reason why I'm not addressing the fact that mom knows is because I can't, myself can't wrap my little mind around that mom knew. And it's like, I almost need to be knocked into sense in order for me to accept the fact that this mother that for all intents and purposes has this appearance of absolutely loving her child has turned out to be this monster that allowed this man to abuse her child. Like, I'm having a hard time with everything I've learned about this family to wrap my head around. Not that you guys aren't seeing the stuff I'm seeing. It's just that I'm reading it different. I respectfully disagree. TV remote goes missing in my house and everyone turns on each other. If Maddie was missing and wasn't questioned, I cannot call her a victim regardless of what she knew. Okay, well, fair enough perspective. Fair enough perspective. Let's just keep going. I still believe that, I think we're being a little too harsh on mom. But you know what? When push comes to shove and everything comes out in the wash, I might not have been hard enough. There's ways we can look at this. But in this case, I'm just dealing with an abundance of caution due to the child's age and due to the fact that this mother lost her only child, from my understanding. So I'm trying to put some sensitivity in that and some humanity in that as well, because it's so easy to sit in judgment when we're only judging on conjecture. And I want to make sure everybody understands there's nobody out there that has adequate evidence to support that this, because if they did at this stage in the game, we're on March 10th, she disappeared on February 26th. If there was something like that out there that somebody had tangible, it would be plastered all over social media at this moment, okay? Because web sleuths are just that. And within the amount of time that we've had to work, if there was something out here that kind of led us to believe that, it would be on social media. We're finding none. And if you have something, you send it to somebody so it can be brought, because people don't want to be in the dark and they don't want to feel duped. And I have a hard, because people are harder on Bullhornbetty than they are on any other creator on this platform. So with that being said, on this sometimes I don't mind taking the brunt of it. If I know, I know. This one, I just don't. If I had you guys know me, if I had it, I would roll with it. I would roll with it. I don't have it. I'm looking. I can't find this horrible mom in her. Like, I'm looking. This is the worst that it gets right here. And everybody's saying this mom knew this, blaming this mom, blah, blah, blah. But nobody can show me concrete anything other than their feelings. And I don't live in feelings. Unfortunately, I don't have the luxury of living in feelings, right? We have to have hard, cold reality. We have to have hard, cold facts, because this is a mother of a murdered child. And before this channel is going to be fingering that mother, yeah, we do it all the time, right? Leilani, we got out there with the bullhorn. We got out there in the bullhorn with Summer Wells. When we know, we know. I'm putting as much energy and effort in trying to find out the answers to this. I just can't. We're starting to see some cracks emerge. We're starting to see some violent tendencies and some threats that were made by Stephan Stearns that can control the household. We are seeing those things. We're starting to see stuff And everything is really, leaning more toward the disgusting behavior of Stephan Stearns more so than mom. And that's hard. That's hard for me. That's hard for me. So I just want to be ultra fair here. I want to be realistic. Unfortunately, I've never been accused of having these gushing blood, heart feelings, right? In these cases. As a matter of fact, people say I'm mean and I'm too judgmental. Okay. Well, if you really truly believe that I am mean and really judgmental, you'll have to understand that why am I not doing it in this case is because I'm not getting those key factors that I am used to and accustomed to seeing in cases like this for the mom. I'm just not. And again, we are here doing this as a team effort. We all have to work together here. So I've got across the platforms I'm running on, I have over 880 people. If you guys have something, send it to me. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Let me review it. Let me read it. Let me do some referencing with it and see if I can get, the value of it. But right now we've got nothing. If you have some stories about mom, now's the time to start bringing them to the world, folks. If you know this family, now's the time to start letting us in. If the mom is this horrible person, we need to know. Because somebody like me, I don't like being here and protecting or backing a monster. And if she had any hand in why her daughter is where she is and found in the condition she was found, I'd like to know. And I know my audience would too. But everybody that has come out about Jen seems like she was a loving person, a lovely person to be friends with. And it sounds like Stephan was the problem, has always been the problem. Friends saw it, family saw it, but mom didn't. Blinded by love. We have all been there, blinded by love. You can't, that pedestal, that glass house, I'm just saying, that pedestal in that glass house.
And mother added that this Sunday they were celebrating her birthday and that she did not notice any behavior that could indicate plans to run away.
Another part that kind of gave my theory a little more water and a little more weight is the fact that I said it sounded like mom wasn't even home that morning or was gone that morning. And I even said, I pointed it out. I like, there's something about that morning that's just not making sense. I just truly do not believe mom saw her daughter. And based upon what grandma said, she was really tired. That's why Stephan had to take her to school. I don't think she saw her daughter that morning. I think she was embarrassed to tell people she didn't even get to say goodbye to her own daughter before she was senselessly murdered. But I have a funny feeling that's going to be the facts that we're going to find out. Sad. It's sad. Now let's go back and look at some of those assessments I made. Let's see what we got. Hopefully you guys can hear this. I think what we're going to have to do, I'm just going to quit using the equipment. Is what's going to end up happening. I love my little buttons, right? I love to push my buttons. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. But I might just have to do some testing, in the beginning of the live. Hey, guys, we got to go through our morning test. Can you hear this? Can you hear me now? We're going to be like the Verizon guy, right? Do you remember those old commercials? Can you hear me now? 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 I'm in the middle of the nowhere. Can you hear me now? Right. Like he already knows the result. You get that? She's nervous and anxious and waiting for information. And to me, that's what now, again, I believe the mom knew something bad happened to her daughter. It is of my opinion and my opinion alone. Not even collectively my channel's opinion, my opinion, that she lied because she didn't believe this man could harm her daughter. And again, this was before we even knew they were together for 8 years. I knew it was a significant number of years, but not 8 years. I did not know that. And just think about how freaking twisted this is. She just turned 13 years old, and he's known her for 8 years. He's known that little girl since she was 5 years old. 5 years old. I think he targeted the mom. And I think he's probably been doing stuff with this little girl the entire time. It probably just didn't go to the extent that it has gone to over the last couple years. But I just keep thinking how disgusting, how horrific. 8 years. Like, if he was able to manipulate that woman for 8, like I just don't believe that this woman ever thought in a million years this man was doing this to her daughter. I think that a lot of the fights and the stuff was maybe some weird behaviors, or maybe he was a little too rough with her daughter, that they had arguments like that, but not understanding the true gravity of what was going on. I believe this guy manipulated, was cunning, conniving to the mom. I think he abused and made the little girl so much in fear that she didn't feel like she had anybody. Because think about it, even her friends barely even knew. The only thing one of her friends could say is that she told me back in 2022 that he hurt her really bad, and she left it at that. And that very well could have been the first time she tried to tell somebody. But even then, she didn't know how to tell anybody, only that he hurt her really bad. And when you look at it like that, you're thinking to yourself, you know what? That does sound like what a kid would say, right? You know, because kids don't use big fancy words like us adults use when we're dealing with other adults. You know, they use very simplistic statements that make sense to them. And sometimes it's just like Nancy Grace says, dumb it down. What does that mean? Do you know that if she went to her mom and her mom just had the follow-up question of, how did he hurt you? What difference that may have made to this point? But just like probably every female that's dealing with a problem, man-child, trying to deal with all the bills, trying to deal with all of this, trying to deal with the care of my daughter, going through the emotional wreckage of living with a narcissist, manipulating piece of garbage. Anytime she went against him, he's probably saying, I'm just going to off myself. That kind of mental abuse, emotional abuse. I don't know. I think now that the curtain has been lifted, I think that there's a flood of red flags that Jennifer is going to have to, she's going to end up punishing herself with for the rest of her life. The grandmother, do you think the grandmother, and that's another point. It's like, she was with her grandmother too. Her grandmother would have known. And I just don't see her grandmother blowing it off. I just really feel like she didn't tell anybody. And somebody alleged that she told the school, listen, I know how schools are. And you remotely breathe that you're being abused at home in any respect, physically or otherwise. You've got frickin', the cavalry sitting on your front door by the time the school bell rings. So, it's hard for me to say that, yeah, she did tell somebody, because I really don't think she did. I don't know why I have that feeling, but you're just not seeing all the things that you would expect to. Let me see what you guys were saying. I haven't been paying attention. Sorry, guys. And I know, like I said, I know not everybody's opinion is going to match mine. And I know there are some of you the guys that are like me. There's some of you that are even more in the middle than I am. There are some of you that are just like, I've experienced this. I've seen that look. I've seen that talk. I know she's guilty. It is what it is. I mean, I get it. I really do get it. I just, for me to take my channel down that avenue, I need to have more corroborated information, and it's just lacking. It really is just lacking. I can't say one way or another, but based on everything I'm seeing here, I will tell you it appears that she did not know that this was going on. Only time will tell, and law enforcement has a hell of a lot more information than I do. But from where I'm sitting, whether you want to hear it or not, and maybe you guys can agree that, there isn't any evidence to corroborate that is, a lot of people's feelings about what happened. I think if we can get on at least that platform, we can build on that, because in all fairness, there's nothing here. And if there is, please send it to me, because I obviously can't find it. If we have something I'm missing, because sometimes when you're building this stuff, you may miss something. I may have not saw this article, or I may not have heard this person's testimony in one of the chat rooms, or this over here, or maybe I missed an interview with a law enforcement or an FBI somebody or a state attorney over here, that I'm missing that nugget of information that I'm just missing out of my analysis. But right now, the way I'm looking at this is that everybody that was in and around, that knew Jen before Stephan, talks about this woman that loves her daughter. And then you have Stephan, and then all of a sudden, all this isolation, right? No friends coming around. Nobody really wants to be around her because of him, all this stuff. So he ends up isolating the family. Why is that important? Because we talk about a lot of, domestic violence on this channel. And what is one of the key factors that allow domestic violent offenders to thrive? Isolation. So we have to apply this stuff fairly, guys. I just, maybe you guys are. Maybe you guys are. I digress. Let's see what else I had. Let's see how smart I was. There's still some, crusty crabs out there, so to speak. To say the least, right? And one of these people decided while we were getting together to do some meet and greets. I think that was too far. Hold on, I was past that. I guess when it refreshed way past where I was wanting to go with this. Hold on. This is okay, here we go. I think it's right here. Here we go. This went on to a commercial. I'm sorry about that. It was in my ear. I don't know if you guys could hear it or not. No, we couldn't hear it. So now we're going to go over to the behavior panel. There's a few key things here about the behavior panel. I'm sorry. This lady on the screen here, she knows how to talk. She drives me up a freaking wall. Tell this lady to shut up. Shut up with all her smartness and greatness. We watched some stuff yesterday. We went through Jen Soto's interview, the one interview that she's provided, the one interview Stephan Stearns provided. No sound. We all could tell that. Does this one have no sound too? I swear to God, I'm ready to tear this computer apart. It's calmed down a little bit, but still, there's still some, crusty crabs out there. She felt deep in her stomach that he did something. This is what happened. I also had brought up, you guys hear that? I felt like she was the breadwinner, that she works a lot and stuff like that. I believe that. Oh, here we go. Here we go with some of the analysis that I broke down. And guess what? Today, now this was several days ago several days ago. I don't know when this was done. Let me look up here. 2 days ago. So a couple days ago, this was the analysis, and then we got all this other information. And now I feel like I was really onto something here. So let's listen to my brainiac analysis. I do believe it was. I believe he was in her ear the entire time saying, you know me, I would never do this. This is what happened. I also had brought up that I felt like she was the breadwinner, that she works a lot and stuff like that. I believe that. And I think, and it was more solidified when the behavior panel went over this, that I realized, what? I think that's where this is. We're trying to figure out how this woman could not have known. I believe she had some feelings that something wasn't wrong. I think we all have those feelings. But I also think she dismissed them. And I'm not convinced that her daughter told her anything. There's no evidence of that. There's nobody that has even stated that she knew or that her daughter told her. There's none of that. Okay, there's none of that. But I also believe the instincts of a mom. And I think that she knew, I don't think she knew something like this, but I think she knew that there was some type of uneasiness between her boyfriend and her daughter. And I truly do believe she knew of the, that her daughter has seen some of those adult arguments up in their house as well. So now I can't hear anything, not even you. Well, hopefully everybody else can hear me. So at least, oh, okay, Devil Doll. Do you want me to hold the seat or your hair? I don't know which. No, just joking. I'm just joking. I can excuse this senseless act of parenting as a mother. It's your role to protect. I'm sorry, but I can't understand how she wouldn't know. See, that's the $1 million question, because I can tell you, I've met several moms that didn't know, that were absolutely blindsided by that fact. That's the problem, is that we have a mixed bag of a mixed bag here, because we have people on one hand, and there are people in this chat on both sides, because we have people on one hand that were abused and they never told their parent and were absolutely terrified of their abuser. And so it kept their mouth shut. But on the other hand, they were scared to death and finally opened up their mouth to their mom. And then their mom didn't believe them. So finally, when they get the courage to tell an adult and they go and tell mom didn't believe them. Mom thought they were just trying to cause a fight to get them to break up. Wouldn't pay any mind to the child, probably because the child had behavioral issues and was causing problems. But the behavioral issues were a direct result of the abuse that they were undergoing. So a lot of people are mixed, because again, we have people that have been abused in the same exact situation that have never told a soul until later. And then we have another side of the group that actually did tell somebody, and the person that they told them didn't believe them. So that's why we're having the mixed bag of emotions, because everybody's experience in this topic is a little different. And I'm sure that there are some people out there that not only went through the abuse, but told their parent, and their parent did do something about it as well. But is there a possibility that this woman just did not know? I mean, think about it. With the medication she was on, the fact that she was, basically drugged at night, whether she did it herself or somebody else was helping her to it, is there a possibility that this lady was just so absent-minded and so diluted in her life, she couldn't see the trees for the forest? That's all I'm simply asking. Is it possible? Because a lot of people believe it's not possible. This lady just threw her daughter to the wolves. And my heart's bleeding for her, because if I truly believed it, of all people, I don't give a damn about this lady's feelings. If she did something horrible to her daughter, I'd be up here blasting her. If she was this horrible person, I just don't see it. I'm praying to God I'm right on this topic. I really am. I'm praying to God I'm right on this, not to be right, just because it's hard, because, I think all of us, we look at some people probably don't have the best moms in the world, right? I had a very strong mom, right, that went through a lot to raise us kids, a lot more than I allege on here. And, my mom did the best she could too. She would never, we never had to deal with any of this. I can tell you that. And if we ever went to my mom about anything, I can guarantee you she would believe us, no matter how horrible of children we were. Like, I was God's worst child to a parent. And I guarantee if somebody was, messing with me and I went to my mother would believe me, despite of, how mischievous I was. I truly believe that. So there are some people out there that don't have that, that ability. They don't have a You know, some of these people have moms that they love, but mom is, you know, substanced out, you know, has her own issues going on. Look at this this girl that's I don't even remember what state, where her neighbor has taken off with her, and everybody's looking for her right now because they believe this guy kidnapped her and is keeping her, and come to find out, which it could still very well be true. We don't know what this man's intentions are, but when you look at her life, it's like, you know, her home life wasn't much better either. I mean, she was getting hard by her stepdad. Her dad's on drugs. Her mom's freaking crazy. And she ran off with her neighbor and her dog. I mean, you know, you're looking at this thing and saying, well, which is better? I mean, I'm just like, that's this poor girl. You know, this poor girl, she's somewhere in this country with probably somebody that's not a good person for her. And even as horrible of a person is for her, it's probably 10 times worse for her at home. So what choice do you choose? Do you choose to advocate to take her home, to bring her home? I'm confused here. I'm confused. I'm a human being. I'm normal. You know, I try to process this, and it's like, you know, when you process this, I should not be, nor should anybody else be judge or jury, right? Or whatever. You guys get what I'm trying to say. But what do you do? She willingly went to this guy. She was forced to be in this situation. Like, what do you do? And no matter how you look at it, it's all horrible. We advocate to bring her home. She's going back to hell. I just, you know, there was a time, I don't remember the kid's name, but you guys remember the mom was on every place trying to get her son to come home, and everybody was asking us Olivia and I, to step into that case and to advocate and try to find him. And I got to be honest with you, we did locate him. We located this boy, and he told us about the abuse, and we could see the abuse. Like, he would pop in on his Instagram or his TikTok or something and leave a video here and a video there. But his mom kept trying to say that he was with this ST person or SA person that was abusing her son. And come to find out, he ran away from his mom because his mom was abusing him. And so, you know, naturally, I don't know I'm not touching that case. Because I absolutely 100% was informed and provided corroborating information that not only did he go down to law enforcement, he absolutely filed cases with his own Department of Children and Family Services, begging them for help against his own mother. No, I'm not going to find that kid or help reunite him with his mother. It's not my job to do that. I run cases and I do the best I can for these cases. But if I see something that's not good, I mean, what do you do? What do you do? When I feel like sending them home is worse, you know, what do you do? I just won't cover the case. If I'm uneasy about it, I won't cover the case. This case here, I'm not really uneasy about. I'm just trying to be, I'm just hopeful, you know, like, out of all this that's gone on, I'm really rooting for mom not to be this piece of garbage. You know what I'm saying? I think that's really what's eating at me, is because I am 50-50 on this. You know, did mom allow this to happen? Did she not? And there's just a piece in me that's just begging and pleading that this is not who she is. You know, I think that's where I'm at with it. But anyways, guys, I want you to have a happy Sunday. Sorry for all the technical issues, as you can imagine, with it happening almost every day this week. I'm at my wit's end with the whole audio issues. Like, I'm literally over it. I cannot stand audio issues. It's the one thing that literally drives me berserk. So it appears that, at least for today, the audio is working better than it was when we started. But that's the end of the show. That's really all I have. Take it for what you will. Unfortunately, even my audience out there that is on the opposite side of this, I'll try to find some conversations about the opposite side of the story. And I have been looking. I have to be honest with you. I've really been looking to find those gotcha moments for the mom, you know, to be honest with you, not because I want to get the mom. It's just that we have to look at that side of things as well. and I'm just not finding them. So I just, if we're going to blame mom, or we're going to have this feeling that mom may have known more about it, I know you guys are amazing people and do amazing work and are all different places. If you guys can research and send me something, Snow, you're amazing at this stuff. Send me something. Let me have something, just a little bit of meat that I can hold on to and say, and start getting me off this fence. But right now I'm just stuck on this fence because I'm looking at this. I'm trying to look at a lot of stuff to make a determination of this mom. And I'm just seeing a great mom here. And, you know, she has her own problems. You know what I'm saying? I mean, none of us are perfect. I guarantee your own mother probably has made a million mistakes, but you love your mom and your mom is the best mom to you. That's what I'm talking about. Not that her mom, but she was a good mom. And I just don't see where this great mom went from being this great mom to being this, here's my daughter, enjoy type of woman. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. So help me understand your perspective, right? So I've got like a 50-50 split here in this chat right now that thinks that this mom had something to do with it. Start sending me some of those reasons, like when you guys send me to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, send me some stuff that's leaning you. Like you had to have read something that started making you feel this way. Send me what you were reading and explain why you felt that way based off your reading. If you want to elaborate that in that detail. If not, you just want to send me an article, please send me an article. I'm open with this case. I just have my own personal feelings in this case as well, you know? So just help me. Help me help you, okay? Help me help you. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. You guys were amazing. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, please be kind to thy neighbor. We say no to online bullying, no to online harassment, and no to you just being a general POS, okay? Everybody is given an opportunity to go make their day great. So you need to be working on yours, just like Bullhorn Betty needs to be working on hers. God bless.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.